It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by Agile Dad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. And yet again, that quickly, it's time for our Agile, Not So Agile episode of the Daily Stand Up Podcast. And today, with it being the beginning of November, I thought I would kick off this month with something that's very near and dear to my heart. Now, many, many years ago, I had a very good friend who she challenged me and told me that, I was seeking personal growth and I was seeking answers to some questions that I had on my mind. And one of the things that she told me is that sometimes our vision of what we hope to do, or sometimes our vision of what we hope to seek or what we're trying to find, is clouded because we're not grateful for the things we already have. And I thought that that was really interesting because in my mind, I position myself as being, full of gratitude and very grateful for all the many things that I have, both temporally and spiritually and emotionally, that are happening in my life. I've got a solid family. I've got a great job. I get to uplift and help others on a regular basis. I felt like everything was going, perfect in my world. But what I quickly realized was that just like, and I'm going to use this example, just like a chiropractor, from time to time, timely crack, from just like a chiropractor, from time to time, we each need some type of adjustment. And sometimes that adjustment is just a physical adjustment, like a chiropractor can do for our back. Other times, it's a mental adjustment or an emotional adjustment. But the one catalyst, the one trigger, the one thing that all of these have in common is that in order for us to be able to pursue what adjustments need to be made, we need to have our own house in order. And in order for us to have our own house in order, we need to erase any negativity that's in our minds, and we have to be grateful for the things that we have. So, my friend challenged me. She said, for the entire month in November, she said, just do it for a month. Write down each day two or three things that you're grateful for and keep them in a small journal and notebook. And she says, make sure, try hard not to repeat things from day to day, but write down everything that you're grateful for. She says, and by the time you get to day 30, you'll be surprised. And I thought, I'll be surprised. I'll have an excellent list of all the things that I'm grateful for. By the time I got to day 17, I started to realize how hard this was. I mean, I knew I had tons of things that I was grateful for, but I never took the time to call them out. And when I started calling them out and I realized that I couldn't repeat, I started realizing that I had so much more that I should be grateful for that I never took the time to say I was grateful for. And when I started clearing my mind and I started becoming grateful for things that didn't necessarily directly impact me, or things that didn't necessarily directly impact my family, when I started to lose myself in the service of others and figure out ways to really take that gratitude to the next level, that's when I started to see clarity in other areas of my life. Now, as silly as it sounds, I'm going to use this example. A couple of months ago, I was struggling with some daily headaches. Now, all my life, I've had a real numb headache, a dull headache, if you will. It was just something that it was never something that was concerning enough to go to a doctor, but it was just something that was always there. And I thought maybe it could be from a pinched nerve from playing football or from, falling down once at a roller skating rink when I managed there. I mean, there's so many things it could have been, but I never took the time to go to a doctor to get it figured out. And I just lived with the dull pain. It was no big deal. But that week, I was getting like really bad headaches, borderline migraines. And I thought to myself, I've got to go to the doctor. But then the thought came to me that so many good things had recently happened in my life and that I failed to express gratitude. And I said to myself, that's the key. I need to figure out a way to express gratitude in order for me to release whatever tension is in my body so that I could have these headaches go away. And I'll be darned if it didn't happen. I started writing things down. I wrote a nice letter to myself about the things that I need to be grateful for. I made a short list. And within a couple of days, I felt more relaxed. I felt more engaged. I felt like my memory was working better. And I felt most of all that my anxiety and stress levels decreased so much that my headache ceased. It went away completely. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there are tons of medicines that you can buy, both prescription and over the counter, that claim to help with this or help with that, help with weight loss, help with stress, help with headaches, help with bodily function. But what I can tell you is the number one way to help with all those things is for you to key in to what grounds you and to show gratitude and be grateful for all the gifts that you have. If you could do those two things, I almost think the rest all comes naturally. The rest all comes almost automatically. It's like a magic potion, if you will. But it's not easy. I'm warning you ahead of time. At least it's like a New Year's resolution. It's easy to start, but it's not easy to keep going. So there have been many times where I've started keeping this a gratitude journal, and I go for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and then I find myself stopping. And you don't realize it because you just get busy and time runs away from you. But then eventually, when you pick it back up again, you're like, oh man, I'm so glad I picked it back up again, because that's when you discover that there's so many things that you didn't consider. So, my advice to you for this week, my challenge, is to try to keep a gratitude journal. So, the three things that you can do is one, keep that gratitude journal and make sure you write down something new that you're grateful for each day. Two, uh, never go to bed without writing down one or two things that you want to achieve the next day. That's a previous podcast episode that I had. And three, never ever go to bed or leave your house on a trip or do anything without expressing love for those that are closest to you, your friends and family. Even if it's just a short, hey, I just wanted you to know I love you, or hey, I just wanted you to know what's going on. It's important for you to go to bed stress free. And if you do that, and then you take care of those sticky notes on the mirror first thing before you do anything else, and you make sure you record the things you're grateful for, those three things will help you with your physical function, your emotional function, and just help you all around be a better person. So I hope you have an amazing weekend. And until next week, I encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Do take care.